Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Frieza 3rd Form, a highly anticipated figure for a very long time for very many people. And is it good enough? Does it live up to what people wanted it to be? I don't know yet. I haven't reviewed it, but I have looked at it, and I have a question of the day to start the video. Do you think it's tall enough? If you've seen it other places. If you haven't seen it yet, then you'll have to let me know by the end of the video. I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison, but still, do you think it's big enough? Do you think it looks right? That's my question of the day. To me, I checked as much as I could online, because heights are a weird thing in Dragon Ball and that kind of thing, and I don't know. Because they tend to scale down the bigger characters and tend to scale up the smaller characters, I think it's actually somewhere in the realm of reasonably sized. But I did find an image of him fighting Piccolo, and it seems like he should be taller. But also the heights are just so inconsistent in the show, it's hard to say. So I'm just curious what you guys think. And he also seemed like he was way more menacing looking than the figure makes him out to be, with his tiny legs and whatnot. But again, that might just be my brain filling in because I know the character, and as I'm watching it, he's a bad guy, whereas the toy, I don't have the story going on at the time. You know what I mean? Let me know what you guys think about that whole thing. But let's see if it's at least a good figure, regardless of potential inaccuracy in size. Okay, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we look at the figure, let's take a look at my package. This is, as usual, a very nice package for SH Figuarts. Their Dragon Ball ones are some of their better packaging, I think. Nice big windows all the way around. A little bit of artwork. Or photos. It's not artwork, it's photos. Some posing options on the back. I think it looks nice. I mean, it's basic, but it's nice. It's very clean. I like it. All right. Let's get into this guy. He stands... I don't know how to measure his height. I guess I'll just go all the way to the top of his xenomorph carapace. Well, his spikes are higher. We'll do the spikes, I guess. All right, so he stands... roughly 15, we'll just say 15.5 centimeters, and that's going to make him just about 6 and, I don't know, quarter. Let's just go 6 1/4. Okay. And then here he is up against Darwin, size-wise. And here he is up against your standard-sized Goku. All right. So this is what's making me think he's a little bit too short, because if he's supposed to be close to Piccolo's height, although in the figures, Piccolo's about as tall as Goku's hair, and that's about where his head goes. So I don't know, I guess it's probably okay for the figure line. I just don't remember him being so small. But that might just be my brain filling it in, like I said. So again, let me know what you guys think. I'm not gonna give them a plus or minus. I'm assuming it's accurate enough. They haven't really screwed up the height too much, other than to scale figures that are scale small guys up so that the figures aren't too tiny and that kind of thing. They have had some inconsistency, but I'm guessing they know at least a little bit what they're doing based on the official nature of these figures. All right, so aesthetics. No paint, not really. There's a little bit here and there to do what they need to do, but I think it is sorely lacking, especially on a white figure like this. Very pale pink, white armor. Even the purple is very basic. It doesn't have any luster to it, and I think it should. A lot of the Friezas have had metallic purple. Standard Friezas. I guess that's Final Form Frieza that we've had the most of. But they've had metallic purple. I don't know, it just feels unfinished. It's not terrible, because the sculpt is alright, but to me it just needs some paint. Even if they didn't want to paint like a wash onto the pink, just doing some shading on the white would have done so much to make this guy look better. So much. All right, let's look at the face. It is the right purple based on his neck, so that's good. I think the face is pretty well done. Not like there's anything incredible going on, but the lips could have been easy to mess up. Lips and teeth. The eyes are clean. I'll take it. It's fine. And that's it, really. There's not much else to talk about in terms of paint. The sculpt is fine. But other than things that needed to be painted in order to be like purple, for instance, on the shoulder pads, and maybe the head, I thought it was a separate piece, but then right here it looks like it is painted. But it's fine, it's just underwhelming. It's not anywhere near as good looking as it should be, I think, because it has zero paint, and it does look very plasticky. We do have some different finishes in like the whites and the pinks and whatnot, but to me it's just fine. It's not going to stand out on a shelf other than for the character design. As far as execution, again, it's just fine. So I'll give this guy an aesthetic rating of... I think I'm just gonna go 7. It looks too plasticky to me. Just way too much plastic. The purple is plasticky and the white is plasticky, and then obviously the pink is too. None of it stands out as looking good. Alright, as far as accessories go, we have alternate heads. And if you get this guy, be aware, his head, the plastic they used, for whatever reason, it is especially hard to hold on to. It's very slippery. It's strange. It's probably just ABS. But it's very slippery. Anyway, we have 2 different heads with different shaped eyebrows. Then you get a few different faces, the kind of normal open mouth smile, the big smile, and then the cheesy teeth showing smile. They're all nicely done, no complaints there. For hands, you get the 2 fist hands and then a variety of style pose hands, everything you should need really. You have the crossed arms. I haven't tried them yet. I'll add in if they work well or not on an overlay for the photo, for some text overlay. And you get his little blast effect, which I think is one of the better ones they've done. I like that it has the more clear center and then the hotter pink on the outside. That's pretty good. I like the way that looks. And then lastly, we have his Dragon Ball, which has none of the problems that some of my other Dragon Balls have had lately. So I like that. It looks pretty good. The swirling is not the best. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. There's kind of a weird swirl down here and then not anywhere else. So it's a little bit weird, but it's not bad, and it still looks pretty good. So accessory-wise, an unimpressive amount, but an acceptable amount, so I will go 7. It's, again, fine, but yeah, we've seen a lot better. Alright, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. For the head, popped off easy earlier. There we go. I don't like that they did the hinge, personally, because they don't need to do that. They get to make it tighter, I guess, by doing that, but they could have also just done a good ball peg. The hinge is alright, except it does limit posability, because instead of being able to lean on that, you can only rotate. So it almost has the same effect as Marvel Legends lollipop heads. There's no big gap, thankfully, but up here, we are limited, because essentially it is the hinge with the ball peg that we see on Marvel Legends, and that we know is not a good design for articulation. It limits posability significantly, so you can go this way. Okay, fine, we can look up and down. Rotation is okay, but it has to happen at whatever angle the hinge is at, so that's not great. And then leaning, you don't get any lean. So it's way too limited for what it should be. The neck, I'm gonna move the head just so you can see the neck. The neck is okay. It's very stiff though, so you can't really pose it with the head. You're gonna have to pop it off and do it. It is on a ball peg, and it's very gappy and doesn't look great. So it's kind of annoying to move the neck, or it's definitely annoying to move the neck, and it's kind of annoying to pose the head because of that hinge. So it'll be good enough, I think. Like, you're not going to need him to be in the craziest of poses, but you should be able to put him in more dynamic poses. These are Figuarts figures, and having the head be somewhat limited is kind of annoying. The shoulder pads, on the other hand, this is how they need to do the Saiyan armor shoulder pads. I think, what was it, Super Saiyan 2? Super Saiyan 2 Frieza had the more of an overlap in here rather than just a pivot point. But either way, was it that one? Or was it cooler? Either way, they've done really, really nice shoulders on a Frieza before. I don't remember a Frieza type person, whatever. These are still really solid. They just tuck in. And it looks so much better than the crap they're doing on the Saiyan armor shoulder pads. So that's great. I like that. Are we going to have some more limitation here? Not technically, because the Saiyan armor isn't more useful. It's just uglier. So I like this. This is a perfectly acceptable design. A proper butterfly joint definitely gets excessive. Don't look at it from the back while you're using it, but it does work to bring the arm across the front, so I'll take that. And obviously, you still get the shoulder pad to work. It's fun. Like, this is one of the better setups for sure. I think one of the Brolys had a good one too, but either way, this is a solid one for shoulder pads. It's definitely better than the Saiyan armor, and they really need to figure out that Saiyan armor. It is Dragon Ball, after all. So I like that. Butterfly joint is super effective. Shoulder connects on a ball peg. Not a ton of range on that ball peg, but it's there. You get all the range you want out of that ball hinge. This is a solid shoulder, guys. They did a good job on this. And so far, no loose joints, no super tight joints other than the neck. So that's pretty good. Shoulder works nicely. Bicep swivel is fine. We'll see if it works out when I try to do the shoulder or the crossed arms. Elbow joint works nicely. That's good. Wrists are on ball hinges. That's standard. Torso articulation, I have to tell you, I already played around with it a little bit and saw that the torso sucks. It's not good. Leaning back, you get that much range. Couldn't go much farther anyway, thanks to that spike back there, so it doesn't lean back very far. Leaning forward is okay. Still not a ton. You can see it's a little bit of a curve, but not a whole lot. Alright, this guy moves basically just to get out of the way. Leaning side to side is acceptable. It's more like nuance posing than actually having a lot of range. And then there's really no functional rotation. There's a little bit, but not much up there. Down here, on the other hand, he leans forward and back pretty darn well. Pretty good range out of that. Side to side, not really. And then you do get rotation. Oh, I don't like that noise, but you do get the rotation out of that. So that's not bad. I think it's a good enough combo of joints. So I'm okay with that. As for the hips, forward, not an incredible amount, but enough. And then going back, hey, they didn't give his butt cheeks too much butt cheeks, so you can bring his leg back. It's off to the side a little bit, probably because of his tail. Definitely because of his tail. But that is not bad at all. Going out to the side, plenty of range there. Hey, this guy's executed pretty well so far. I hope nothing happens that makes me not like it. Thigh swivel is okay. I still think they need to tone down their thigh gaps. And I don't mean the thigh gap between the thighs here. I mean between the thigh and the hip. This ridge right here. His is a better example of how to do it better. We've seen some crazy ones recently, but this one's not bad. Not as bad, even though it's segmented more than it needs to be. Works pretty well. Double jointed knee. Not the best range. That's not much better than 90 degrees, so that's a bit annoying, but it does look good, so I'll give them that. And then these ankles, I already messed with these two, and they work nicely because it's not just a ball hinge, it's a ball hinge with a ball peg, so you can actually get pretty solid range out of these FRIEZA feet, and most of the time, FRIEZA feet don't work well at all. Or ankles, I should say. They work nicely on this guy. Very well executed, and the joints are all nice and stiff and usable. I like it so far. How's the tail? Oh, you guys know my stance on tails. We just should have alternate posed tails. We don't need the articulation. It's ugly. And what do you need to do with this tail that the articulation allows you to do without it looking hideous? Nothing really. Give us like two options, like a neutral one, or if it's like used for a specific scene, fine, give us a third option. Charge an extra $3 or whatever you have to charge. Make it a hollow tail, just like the head's a big hollow lightweight piece of plastic, and just give us some alternate things that can peg right into the butt. We don't need these hideous joints. I don't like that. It doesn't really matter. I'll just leave it like this, but that looks ridiculous. I hate these hinged tails when it's only these two hinges and the curved pieces. It just looks really bad to me. Let's have another question. What do you guys think about just having option parts for tails rather than the ugly hinges? Do you think the hinges are as ugly as I do? Let me know your thoughts. I hate them. Okay. Alright, so this guy actually turned out way better than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was just going to be pretty average based on the finish and based on the accessories. There wasn't really anything inspired about him. He didn't stand out like Cooler or even second form FRIEZA. But I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by the execution and articulation, both in design and, like I said, the execution. You know what? I want to see. This is a Vietnam release, which means they're perfectly capable of good joints. He doesn't have anything that's a problem other than his neck is a little stiff. In terms of, again, execution, quality control. There's no looseness, there's no real problems. I like that. That goes a long way when you're handling a figure. If it's not finicky, it's wonderful to handle. This one is. It poses well. I'm very pleased. Articulation-wise, I'm going to give this guy a 9. I would fix the head, but otherwise, and the tail, but whatever. This is a good one as far as posing goes. I like that. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I thought for sure he was going to be a dud. But yeah, he poses well. So that makes a big difference. I like it. All right. Time for a final verdict. I do wish it had some paint on there, that it didn't look so plasticky. Number of accessories is perfectly adequate. It's just not impressive. Then the articulation does work. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 8.5. It's a solid release. It is going to look plasticky on a shelf and kind of be like blah. Like I don't want to go handle it based on the looks if I didn't know better. But now that I know it's fun to handle, that helps. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Alright guys, there it is. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.